Hey guys, it's Kira, and today I am super excited because I'm going to be starting a new, what I hope will be, series over the next few weeks, and that is Bake Off My Vegan Bake Along, because the Great British Bake Off just started back on TV and I'm so happy about it because it's literally my favourite show. I spend like the good few weeks before it comes on TV talking about it non-stop, and then whilst it's on I also talk about it non-stop, and then once it's over I also talk about it non-stop. So basically a good section of my year is spent either enjoying or wishing I was enjoying watching Bake Off, and so I thought it would be the perfect chance to try and get involved with Bake Off without obviously actually going on it, because let's be honest, I'm probably not good enough for that. But I thought that it would be quite fun to try and pick one of the bakes from every week of Bake Off, and I'm probably going to try and stick to the technical just for some kind of consistency, but we'll see how that goes. But basically I'm going to pick one bake from each week of Bake Off and try and veganize it and share it with you, the good, the bad and the ugly, because I won't know in advance whether the recipes are any good because I won't have had a chance to try them. So this is going to be basically a first look at my very first attempt at veganizing loads of different recipes. So that is what the plan is. And week one has just been on TV and it was Cake Week, which is of course a great place to start. And the technical bake for this week was angel slices, which I was so happy about because before I went vegan, I was a huge Mr. Kipling angel cake addict. I loved them so much, but I haven't actually ever attempted to make them vegan, and so this is going to be an amazing opportunity to try and recreate one of my old favourite cakes. So we're going to give it a try. I've literally got no idea how it's going to go because it's quite a challenging bake in general. It looked like from the show a lot of the bakers seem to struggle with it. And then obviously I'm going to be trying to make it vegan, and I'm going to be using aquafaba, which is the water that comes in the can with chickpeas, as my egg replacer. And I've never used aquafaba before, so basically this could go either really well or really terribly, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm going to head down to the kitchen and get baking. So I'm currently just getting started with prepping for all of the angel slice stuff, and I honestly think that the most difficult bit is just going to be getting everything prepped because there's just loads of fiddly bits, and the most fiddly thing is just setting up the tray because it's a tray bake, but because you're going to be basically piling three different colours on top of each other, you need to split the tray into three sections, unless of course you happen to have three perfectly sized trays, which I didn't and I wasn't willing to buy them just for this bake. So the trick that they actually used on Bake Off was to use tinfoil pieces to split the tray into three equal parts. So you basically just measure whatever tray you're using. I've gone by the measurements given on the Bake Off website, which I will link down below, but obviously I've just veganized everything. But the measurements for the tray that they gave was like a 33 by 25, I believe. So I'm splitting the tray lengthways into three 11 centimeter sections, and then just using a little tinfoil wall basically to stop all the bits from spreading. So then you just sort of line them in like this, and then with each separate section you're then going to want to use a piece of baking paper just to line it to make sure that the mixture doesn't go underneath the tinfoil. And then obviously to stop it from folding up, then you're just going to want to use some vegan butter just to stick it down basically so that everything stays in place. I've got it ish. I've got it ish kind of. So we're just waiting for the aquafaba to reach 43 degrees Celsius. Now it's just under 40, so we'll be almost there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous because I've never cooked with aquafaba before. I've seen loads of people do it and it seems to work okay, but I've always been a little bit scared, and I feel like I've picked a pretty complicated bake to try it on. So we'll see how it goes. We're almost there. And all of the sugar seems to have dissolved, so as soon as that hits 43, we can take it right off. Give it 10 more seconds. Although, to be honest, I don't think that the temperature matters quite as much for aquafaba because it's obviously not actually eggs, and I feel like the temperature is more to do with how eggs behave, so hopefully this will work okay no matter what, but we'll see. Okay, so now I've got my electric mixer and the aquafaba egg white sugar mixture, and I need to whisk it up and hopefully it will go into like nice soft white peaks. But basically I'm a little bit nervous because this is the point in the recipe where either I end up making angel slices and they're really successful, or the recipe just flops, because if it doesn't work out now, then that basically kills the whole recipe. So fingers crossed that we can actually make this work. Yay! So that is what has happened to my aquafaba. It's not quite as thick as a meringue, but I don't think it's supposed to be. It's just meant to hold its shape slightly. So basically that was a success, and I'm so happy because, like I said, it's the first time I've ever used aquafaba. So yay! That basically means hopefully that the rest of the recipe should go quite well. So moving on, I'm just going to move this to one side and get all of the butters ready because they all need to be coloured and flavoured, ready to be mixed into their various sections of the angel slices. So I've coloured the butter, so we've got like a lovely pink, a kind of yellow, and then just a white, which is vanilla. And now I need to basically weigh out the egg mixture to make sure that we put an even amount in each one. I'm a bit nervous because I don't want to knock any of the air out of it, but I need to know exactly how much it weighs. So I'm going to be very gentle with this. However, because I was using aquafaba and not an actual egg, and I didn't want to rely on the aquafaba to be the only raising agent, I am using self-raising flour rather than plain flour. The recipe on the Bake Off website calls for plain flour, but I thought I would use self-raising, which I use in basically any bake which I want to rise, just because with vegan ingredients you can't always rely on them rising in the exact same way as typical ingredients do. So I always find that using self-raising is just a good way to make sure that you still get a nice rise on your bakes. So that is 217 grams. What's that divided by 3? So we need 72.3 grams of each for each of these with the egg mixture. And I'm using a wooden spoon just because I feel like it's easier to be gentle with a wooden spoon, but we'll see. They're all roughly about 70 grams now, so I'm counting that as a success. The next step is to work with one bowl at a time and to fold in first the self-raising flour and then the butter. So obviously because of the colours I've used, I'm going to do the white one first, then the yellow, then the pink, because otherwise all the colours will bleed into one another. So you are meant to sieve the flour, but it's such a small amount and I don't have a sieve, so. Already it seems to be losing volume. How does this work? Help me. This is where Noel and Sandy would come around and see that I looked really sad because it wasn't going how I wanted it to go. Right, now I'm adding the butter in. Well, it was supposed to taste of raspberry, but I didn't know where you get raspberry flavouring, so I'm just going to have a taste of pink. Now I'm just going to pop them all in the tin and hope for the best. My confidence has dipped a little bit just because they look so thin in the tray. But we're gonna cook them and just see what happens. So the Bake Off recipe website says to preheat your oven to 190 degrees Celsius, but our oven tends to be a little bit temperamental and burns things on top before they're fully cooked on the bottom. So I've preheated ours to about 170 just to let it cook slowly so it cooks evenly all the way through, hopefully. So that's what I've done, but I will leave all of the details in the blog post I'm going to do alongside it. So yeah, let's go put it in the oven. So it's been in for 12 minutes now and I'm just going to check them and hope that everything has gone well. I flipped them around halfway through just for an even bake, but aside from that, I have no idea, so. Okay. Comes out clean, clean, clean. Okay, they're done. So now my least favourite part of any baking is to let them cool, because I never like waiting and, you know, it's boring basically. I want to ice stuff straight away and then try it, but I know that if I try and ice and stack these straight away they'll just collapse basically, so I need to let them cool, then cut them down so that they're all even slices and ice them. But for now I'm just going to leave them and let them cool down in their own time. So while I wait for the cakes to cool, I'm just going to make the buttercream, which is going to sandwich them all together, and then the icing to go on top. So basically the buttercream is just super simple. It's just vegan butter and icing sugar. You could put flavouring in if you want, but I think because the cakes have their own flavour and angel cakes are meant to be quite like a delicate thing, I'm not going to put any extra flavours in the icing. I'm just going to mix it up. Then on top we've got a white icing to begin with, so that is literally just icing, sugar and water. So I want it to be quite thick, so I'm going to put not that much water in. You can always add, but you can't take away. You just need a small amount of pink icing to like feather the top with. So I've got the icing sugar. I'm literally just going to wing it with like a few drops of pink icing sugar. a little bit more if I need to. And then again, just a small amount of water to begin with, so you can see how thick it goes. The like food colouring will add a little bit extra liquid as well. Also, just wanted to say, like, in terms of the food colourings I'm using, a lot of food colourings can tend not to be vegan, especially pink and red ones, because I can't remember what the exact ingredient is called, but there's something used basically that's made up of beetles to give red food colouring. So obviously always check if you wanted to make vegan bakes whether yours are vegan food colourings, but I've checked all of mine and they were. The yellow and the pink were both vegan, so they definitely exist. I know Tesco, if you're in the UK, definitely marks their icing sugar products really clearly whether they're vegan or not. Right, so just checking on the cakes and they're feeling quite cool now. I'm pretty pleased with how they went. The only one I've had a slight issue with is the vanilla, which is kind of thin on one end and a bit thicker on the other. Now that just means I'm probably only going to get like 5 slices rather than 6, but that's not really a major problem. So I'm going to transfer these onto a plate, trim them off to get them all nice, and then layer them up. Not sure that I've gone about this in the best way, but whatever. Hopefully it'll be alright. Oh no! Slight breakage. Right, okay. Change of plan. I'm just gonna go for it. Change of plan. Oh no!
Make or break it
Like the big spatula. This one. Right. I fear I've made a terrible mistake. It's okay though, because like I said, I'm only going to end up with 5 full ones, so. Right. I'm hoping like that the icing will do its job and hold it together. Okay. Right. My God, I'm not even being judged and I already feel scared. Okay, so white goes at the bottom. Slice them, which is messy as oh no. Oh dear. Well, they're just a little bit on the crumbly side, and also, as they always say on Bake Off, you want to wait until it cools down before you cut stuff, and I have failed to do so. Okay, so here is the finished product, which I'm not actually that mad about. Like, yeah, it's a little bit messy, but so taste test time. I know it's not the most attractive thing. I'm literally covered in icing, but you know, whatever. That's quite nice. I can see why they're falling apart, because they are really, really light and fluffy, which obviously means that they just don't hold together quite as well. But actually, flavour-wise, I'm pretty pleased. This is my first ever attempt, A, at making angel slices, B, at trying a technical challenge, and C, as I've mentioned, at using aquafaba. So probably not gonna win Bake Off, but not too bad, question mark. Okay guys, so there we have it. That was my attempt at making a vegan version of angel slices to bake along with this week's Great British Bake Off episode. And to be honest, I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out. Like, I probably wouldn't win Star Baker, but they actually tasted really, really good, and I'm super happy with that. I think the main takeaway from this was not to rush, because I think that if I'd have waited a little bit longer to ice them, and then once I'd iced them, let them set before cutting, they'd probably look a lot neater than they do. But the flavour and the texture was actually so good. They could have risen slightly more because they were a little bit flatter than I would have liked, but the cakes themselves were really light and fluffy. They were slightly delicate, which I'm not sure if that was just an angel cake thing in general or because I made them obviously vegan and that made them slightly more delicate. But all in all, the flavour, the texture, everything was great. They're probably not going to win any awards, but just for eating at home, they were really good. So I'm going to be doing a blog post to go along with each of my vegan bake-alongs, whether they go well or not. So I'll pop a link in the description below to the accompanying blog post so you can see the recipe that I am sort of like tailored to make it vegan. And I'll also pop some notes in there about my advice about how maybe not to end up with ones that look quite as messy as mine, but I do really think that it was mainly just a rushing thing. But all in all, I'm really happy with how week 1 of my vegan bake-along went, so I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'd love to know if you're watching the Great British Bake Off as well, and if you're not, watch it because it is so good. But for now, let me know if you also managed to try out this recipe and what you think of it, or if you're just a fan of angel slices in general. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.